Welcome to the Lifestyle Chase. This podcast features high performers who have found a way to live their best life while balancing their health, wellness, friends, and family. Proudly hosted by me, Chris Little. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're here for my first episode of the Lifestyle Chase, and I have here with me Mr. Blake Fillion.
Hi, Chris. It's great to be a guest on your show. An honor. Thanks for having me.
How's your day going so far? What did you do this morning?
Well, so far today, we woke up at our usual time, my son's alarm clock, around 7 in the morning. We ate a handful of Cheerios, and we went to stroller size at the Kinsman.
That's awesome. So tell me about stroller size. What does it all involve?
So the target demographic is obviously moms trying to get back into fitness, but as any circuit type training, it's geared on how much effort you want to put into it. So you can always make it more difficult. And so best way I could describe it as a less intense CrossFit with way more running.
I love it. Do you go to a dark place when you have that stroller in your hands and you're just giving her?
When they tell me to put the stroller aside and do burpees, the dark place comes.
Oh, burpees, gross.
Yes.
we won't talk anymore about burpees.
Yeah.
So, you're from Prince George.
Correct.
What was life like growing up in Prince George?
So, I didn't actually grow, most of my childhood was outside of Prince George in a real small community called Salmon Valley.
Okay.
And it was very rural, really country, and it was great. I've considered myself fortunate for growing up before internet and where social media was outside playing with your friends. So we were on bikes every day until the snow flew, and then it was GTing and snow forts. And I was fortunate enough to also have dirt bikes and snowmobiles when I was growing up. So that really expanded the areas that me and some of my friends could go.
So, a lot of people that I look up to are really campaigning for a break from social media, especially like when people have children.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see yourself raising young Jake with taking a break from social media as he gets into that?
It's difficult because I would love to be able to take a break, but in the same sense, that's how so many family members are able to see the growth and progression of my child, because we do live out of town.
Totally.
So with my parents and sister and all my family being in Prince George, and them having their own busy lives, we don't get to talk on the phone as much as we'd like. We don't get to FaceTime as much as we'd like. So Facebook posts and Instagram updates are a way of communicating with them, and so they can stay current. In the same sense, everything else that comes with Facebook, I would love to leave behind.
What about child's social development, like as you get into like the school years and stuff? What's your take on that?
That's a difficult one. This is something I've been talking about with a lot of my friends, my new parent friends, on just how we plan to go about it. And I think that we want to explore the availability of private school, because we feel that type of stuff might be more regulated, and the bullying in school and the online bullying hopefully would be cut down to what you would see in a public school. Other than that, I believe my sister had a really good approach of just honesty and just being straightforward and honest, and making your kids show you their pages and what they're posting and stuff like that, and just being honest, and then deal with the discipline then, because I'm sure by the time that Jake is to that age demographic, everything's going to be so different again.
You're probably going to put on glasses and be inside the Nintendo.
Exactly, right? So but basically what we want to do is just instill outdoor physical activity.
There we go.
Into a more so than what's necessary. Obviously, there's going to be social media. There's going to be bullying. It's always around. That stuff it's here to stay. But if we can influence with enough positive activities, hopefully the negatives will just be kept to a minimum.
I like it. I like that stance.
Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, what did you do to stay active? Because we know each other through an active pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do?
So I was really, really invested in baseball growing up. That was my summer sport. I played All-Stars. I was in, when I was 12 years old, we were the host team for the Canadian Little League Championships. And they were grooming us from the time we were around 10 to try to compete, because those kids are phenomenal. The ones that make it, they're legit. So we were doing 2-a-day practices. It was lots of running, lots of batting practice. So baseball was my main one. And then in the wintertime, I skied. And then I switched to snowboarding. So that kind of worked itself out. I did hockey for a little bit, but my parents gave me the choice. They said, you can play hockey or you can ski, but you can't do both. And while skiing was a lot more fun than getting yelled at by a coach.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we did that, but then it was just growing up in a rural community. Some of my friends lived about 6 kilometers away. So that was a good bike ride to get to their house.
Yep.
Running through the bush, making trails, building forts, dirt clot fights, rock fights with the kids you didn't like.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I grew up in the country. I know like what it feels like to ride to your friend's place, because like there's no other way you're gonna see your friend, kind of thing.
Your bike is your freedom.
Yeah, bike is life.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you meet your wife?
Ironically enough, we met on Plenty of Fish.
Damn, it
Yeah.
worked?
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. I won.
You won the game.
Yeah. No, so I just moved back to Prince George. I was in Grand Prairie previous to that and living the Grand Prairie grind. And I just wanted out. And it all came in a matter of 2 weeks. I made my decision. And I rented out my house. I quit my job. And I packed up and I left for a new, fresh start in an old town. And I wasn't in Prince George very long, and I started chatting with my wife, Michiko. And we emailed back and forth for a long time, and before we ever met each other. And yeah, it just worked out. Like, we were both very driven, and we both went into the relationship not wanting a relationship. We both said that we're both too busy and didn't have time for a relationship. But then that just went out the window pretty quick, actually. It was made official in a very awkward way I don't think I need to go into.
Fair enough.
How do you ask somebody to be a boyfriend or girlfriend in your late 20s when you haven't dated in a long time? It's an awkward conversation.
I guess so, but you made it happen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you defied the odds of Plenty of Fish of all the platforms. You made it work.
Yeah.
You should have a medal.
Yeah, exactly. And it took a while. I dated for a while, and then it just really worked out. And she's been such a huge influence in my life moving forward.
What was it about her that made you think she's the one?
Just talking to her. She's so intelligent and can have a conversation and a real good view, not your standard view. She's really, really good at looking outside the box and seeing it from multiple angles. And that's her design background, and just being critiqued and being able to take that constructive criticism and run with it and seeing stuff, and all the hardships and adversity that she's faced in her life. It just really gives her such a unique view, and yet she always remains so positive. And nothing ever is just that bad where she breaks down. It's just she is always positive and so strong. And yeah, just very goal oriented. So there's many things that that made me fall for her, but it was just even how she worded her emails. It's just that's what started the spark.
I like it. For our listeners that don't know too much of the background story, what what are some of the struggles that she's had to overcome?
So, my wife was very, very physically fit, very physically active, always working out. She's a former national champion in judo, comes from a big judoka family, and one day she was working out in the gym and her friend noticed a lump on her leg. And as it turned out, it presented as a very rare type of disease that caused her to go through a total of 54 rounds of radiation and a handful of different chemos. And so she's done about 6 months of chemo total, and then the 54 rounds were broken up over 2 separate times. And so she just prefers to call it, or to word it as a rare disease, and it's been ongoing for over 10 years now. And then putting herself through med school, that's enough stress for anyone, and just starting a new life in a new town, like that's hard too.
100%. So you met her in Prince George?
I met her in Prince George. So there's a med school in Prince George, and it's a satellite school at UBC, but she's originally from Lethbridge.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
What brought you to Edmonton?
It was her career.
Okay.
So in 4th year of med school, they get put through this, if there's any med students listening, they'll know all about it. It's called CARPS. And that's how they apply for jobs. And it's a big computer algorithm where med students will list the programs that they want to enter the most, and then those programs will enter the med students that they want the most, and then the algorithm will match the student to the program. And we got matched to Edmonton. It could have been Halifax, it could have been Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, London. When it come time for that, I just asked her to please leave me out of your decision making. And pick what you want. I'll adapt. I'll be fine. I'm a Red Seal trades worker. I can go in Canada and find work.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine. I'll make friends.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the reason why you don't like your program.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's admirable. And I think a lot of doctors' spouses are that way. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much work and effort invested, and you're choosing that person
mm-hmm.
with everything that goes with them, and you're benefited by who that person is as a partner. Would
Absolutely.
you agree?
Totally. Absolutely.
Okay. That's awesome. And because you're a welder,
mm-hmm.
so what got you into welding?
So there was a program in my high school, and this was before RAP programs came out. It was a pilot program when I was in school. So it was called the CTC program, Career Technical Center, and it allowed students to go to the local college in Prince George and start a trade. So they had 4 offered. There's machining, millwrighting, foods and hospitality, culinary arts, and welding. And I chose welding, and so it enabled me to graduate from high school with my BC C-level welding ticket. From there, my friend had a job at a local sheet metal shop, and they do a lot of welding and fabricating there. And then he got me on full time, and then I started my apprenticeship as a sheet metal worker. So that's my Red Seal ticket, as a sheet metal worker. And then I also have my BCC level, which I can upgrade if I choose.
Nice.
But the type of work I do, a lot of it doesn't actually call to be a journeyman welder. It's decorative welding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what got you into the decorative welding? What sparked that passion?
Some people have told me, this is just from past compliments and stuff. So I've been able to see from 2D to 3D really well. So see a 2D print or pieces of metal that are laid out in 2D and just know how I'm going to have to fold it and bend it and cut it and form it in different ways to get the object that I want. That all came really natural. And then it's just always challenging myself is what led me more to the decorative side. Always wanting to be better than the person who's better than me, and not giving up on that. And there's so many people that I hold in high regard that are better than me, but it always challenges myself to put out a better product. I'll notice every flaw in everything that I ever do, but most people won't. Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
To give a better idea to our listeners of what you've made in the past, what are the things that you've created that you're the most proud of?
Okay. When I was in Prince George, I was building jet boats for a while, and jet river boat is, most people know what it is, depending on what circle you're in. Anyways, they're a real high-end aluminum boat that are made to go in shallow water and carry heavy loads in shallow water. So one of the ones that I was really proud of was we built this boat from scratch. It was a one-off custom polished aluminum boat with a custom interior, wakeboard tower, a big supercharged motor in it, and like just the fit and finish on it, and everything was perfect, and the customer was gleaming with pride. There's been a lot of projects that kind of get lost in the woodworks. Another one that I still refer to is the stainless steel that me and a coworker did in an operating room in Grand Prairie. So that was very precise work. That took a long time. Other than that, it's just the stuff I build in my garage is what I have to be most proud of. Whether like the one end table I built to sell, that my wife liked so much that I wasn't allowed to sell it. I just finished another table for a client with marble top and stainless steel legs. I'm working on, I'm going to do a piece of spruce burl, and a burl is a knot in a tree that grows with a tree still growing out of it, and some of them get quite large. So this one is about 40 inches in diameter, and I cut it in half, and I'm going to turn it into 2 outdoor natural gas burning fire pit tables. So stuff like that I'm really proud of, but unfortunately it's just like a lot of the stuff is just pretty repetitive and just stainless steel countertops, sinks. We would get some art projects from clients. So the downtown big city E, like the YEGB big E that was designed. So I actually did all the fabrication and welding on that. But I don't get any credit for it because it's not my design. And I can totally relate to that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. For the stuff that you've done on your own, do you have like a showcase of that, like a website or a Facebook page or anything?
Not yet. We are going to be doing a website, but I do feature a lot of my stuff on my Instagram account.
Nice.
But that has been taken over by pictures of my son.
That's fair.
So if you don't want to see many baby updates, then that's all right. But there's some work projects do come out on there too. Actually, there is something that came up that I'm pretty excited about. One of my designs for a sculpture got accepted to a 3D art exhibit through the Alberta, it's called the ASA, Alberta Sculptures Association, I believe. And it'll be featured in Drumheller throughout October.
There we go.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that one. I'm really excited. It goes off of my... I took a small apprenticeship with a hide artist in Vancouver doing totem carving. And he's given me his blessing to do First Nation artworks and using his name. And so this is my sort of it's a totem like I've never seen before, and it really plays a lot with negative space. It's hard to describe vocally.
If a person was to stay posted, is there a way that we'll be able to see pictures of it down the road, or we have to go to Drumheller and check her out?
I would say through my Instagram
Okay.
at Blake Fillion. would be the best way.
We'll make sure that gets in the description. People will know how to find you.
Absolutely.
I'm sure some people will be pretty interested.
Yeah, and I might be able to throw a teaser in there quick because it's the fabrication and construction is going to get started right away here.
That's exciting. What's your timeline for that? How long do you think it'll be done?
It has to be done by the end of September.
Damn. So you're just gonna start hustling?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I usually go out after I get my son to bed. I go out and work in my garage till about 1 a.m.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You get enough sleep?
I do all right off a little amount of sleep, but not as good as my wife. We usually only sleep about 5-6 hours a night.
Man, 6 hours is not enough. Like, do you find yourself banking sleep deprivation, like needing to actually sit down and nap at some point?
Sometimes, if I do sit down, I tend to like to keep moving. If I'm moving, then I'm not tired. And then I usually sleep pretty well for those 6 hours, and then just get up and live by my son's schedule. So when he goes down for a nap, then I usually catch up on household chores and work around the house. And if I can sit down and have a little nap, which isn't very often, then I will take it.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say, like, it's when people are like, oh man, I just sat down and fell asleep right away. That, like, that's when you know how sleep deprived you are. But me living the bachelor life, having those freedoms to do things that are in the best interest of myself, like, I can't obviously relate, but I look forward to the day when you're able to get all the sleep that you need.
That's a great day when that happens. Yeah.
If nothing else, just make sure you're drinking your water.
Mm-hmm.
Water is a game changer.
Yeah.
So, with your experience of becoming a dad, like, what were your expectations going into it? And how were your expectations altered, like, after you actually experienced it?
So my expectations going into it, it was hard to know what to expect. So I was just trying to keep it sort of open. I knew life was going to change, and everything was going to be different. Nothing was going to be the same again, and I was right about that. And how are my expectations now? I think we're doing good. Jake's happy and healthy. He's meeting his goals, even though he was born a month early. He's right on track. He eats so well. He sleeps very well. He sleeps well. I don't. Yeah.
Well, at least he sleeps well. Like you were saying, like a 7 a.m. wake up call. Like,
yeah.
So he's sleeping till 7 a.m.
Last night I put him down at 8 p.m. and he slept straight till 7.
That's incredible.
I know. I don't know if I should say that out loud. Some people might hate me.
They're going to ask for your secret. You better have your book starting to be written.
Sleep training. There's many programs out there. Me and my wife agreed upon one and we stuck to it. When I was weak, she was strong. And I would say when she was weak, I was strong, but she's definitely the stronger one.
Is it that strategy where, like, the baby needs your attention, is asking for something, and then you just ignore it?
They're crying. They're crying.
Yeah.
They're crying for a bottle. They're crying to get picked up. And the program we chose is you go in and you console them, but you don't actually pick them up or cuddle them, and you don't feed them, because Jake would eat throughout the night, and then he wouldn't eat until noon.
Okay.
So clearly he can go a while without eating. We just had to get his schedule flipped to be on a daytime eating schedule, not a nighttime eating schedule. And then so we got it flipped in a couple days, and our lives have just drastically improved. Mm-hmm.
You never think about it that way. Well, maybe I wouldn't be the first to think about it that way. Like, I get hungry at night, and then I eat, and then maybe I'm not hungry in the morning. Like, we're no different than babies. Like,
yeah. But when babies are like real young infants, they're eating every hour, 2 hours. And you're just tiny little feeds all the time. So that's when it's really tough, is when you're getting up every hour. And then for parents that have a colicky baby, Oh, my heart goes out to you, because Jake has been such a blessing, and he's just so easygoing, and he was never colicky. We still had rough nights, but he's such a good baby that we're so lucky that for a single parent to have a colicky baby, you need a medal, right? That's hard. That's hard among anybody can imagine until you're faced in that. So.
And there's bound to be some people who that applies to listening to this. So pat on the back for them.
Exactly. Just put the kid down and go have a minute to yourself. They'll be fine. They're not going to cry themselves to death, but your mental health needs it, and ask for help. I was fortunate enough to make a lot of friends through programs that Edmonton puts on, and to build a support group of friends and people that have moved here from other towns, etc., etc. Just to lean on each other and provide help. Where if they really need a break, I'll watch their kid, and I'll take care of them, and just go sleep.
Yeah.
Go sleep for a couple hours. You need to rejuvenate. If you haven't eaten, you need a shower. I'll help out. I'll bring you food. And then they're always offering the same. So I've been fortunate to really meet some wonderful people in my life.
I love that. That is so important. Like, community is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So we met through the CrossFit community, actually. What brought you to that gym in the first place?
What originally brought me to that gym is I was trying to get back into judo. So I was doing judo in Prince George, and I worked myself up to a brown belt. But to get it to a black belt, you need points, and you get a certain amount of points every year for registering and participating in judo. Refereeing tournaments, doing other stuff you can build points slowly. The best way to build points is to compete. So I put on some weight. I plumped up to 200 pounds. And when I went in a competition at 200 pounds, those guys are skyscrapers. They're all 6'3", cutting down to 200. I like to fight in the 81 kilo class, where you're about just under 185 pounds. That is a much nicer weight class for me. So I thought CrossFit would be a good way for me to lose some weight, build some muscle. I like the body movement exercises. I thought that it would relate well to judo, not just working on isolated muscles. But as it turned out, I just really enjoyed it, and then kind of stopped doing judo.
Yeah.
Because I really liked the CrossFit.
What was your favorite part about, we'll just broaden the term and just go to group fitness in general. What's your favorite part about working out next to other people?
The group, the community, the team aspect. You're not just there by yourself. I can't tell you how many times I would start a gym membership, go work out by myself, and just do the exact same thing where it just tapers off, and then tell you, I'll go tomorrow. I'll start again next week. Next month for sure. And then you're just not going. What I liked about group is the group.
Yeah.
It is the encouragement you get for everyone cheering you on to finish your last rep.
Oh, totally.
Just the positive environment. Everyone there was so great. It was such a good atmosphere that the coaches and the owners provided.
Yeah.
It was just you felt like a team. And everyone felt so welcome.
The whole "you're not alone" mentality is so beneficial in any fitness setting where you're with other people, kind of thing.
Everybody's struggling through it. Everybody's cheering you on.
Yeah.
And and when new members come, then you're helping to lift them up and encourage them too. And that's what I really liked about the CrossFit gym that we were going to.
With your wife having battled this rare disease amidst so many other things going on, how have you worked together to overcome everything that's come up?
So, unfortunately, we're still battling it. And it's not so much a battle as dealing with it. It's such a rare type that it isn't going to go away. We just have to deal with it. So how do we deal and move on, and how do we overcome stuff? Is just staying positive, setting goals. What do you want to do? What does she want to do? How can I help her with that? And what do I want to do? And how does she help me with that? And it's just constantly staying busy. It's just kind of how we deal with it, and just working hard, and just that's kind of what we do. It's just achieving a goal and then getting it done, setting a goal and getting it done. We wanted a kid, and we really wanted a child, but with her rounds of radiation and everything, our doctors were saying, you probably can't get pregnant, but even if you can, you shouldn't. And then that put a pretty good strain emotionally on the both of us. And then when we found out we were pregnant, we were in disbelief and we were in shock, and so then we had to move forward with that, and how are we going to do this, and how do we, still prioritize your career, and what do you do here? And so that's why we decided, that's why she's working and I'm on leave, and that's how we adjusted our life. And now we're making it work here. And what's the next challenge that we're going to face? We don't really know, but we'll face it when we get there.
I love it.
We'll talk about it, and we'll analyze it, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's us versus the problem.
I love it. Goal oriented. That's like the way to be, to be head set forward, and just we're gonna chip away until we just make what we want to happen.
Yeah.
What are aside from your child, what are the goals that you've set in the past that you've battled and then conquered?
Okay. Well, I still want to get my black belt in judo. So that's one I haven't conquered yet. One I'm working towards right now is I want to get my pilot's license.
And you're close, aren't you?
Not so far yet. I'm working on it. So I'm about halfway done.
Okay.
So now I have to start building solo hours. So I will get examined by the licensed examiner, and if he says thumbs up or thumbs down, then I'll start building my solo hours, and then timing will get a lot faster. My goal is to be done before the new year for my private pilot's license, so that I can start working towards my commercial license, my instrument rating, night rating, multi-engine rating, and then I would like to get my float rating too. The more I learn about a topic, the less I realize I know, and the more I want to know. So I sort of get kind of consumed with a topic and want to know everything about it. And when it comes to flying, I just want to be safe. I want to get on the ground safe every time and come home to Jake and my wife. And so that's why I want to get all the ratings that I can and to understand everything about it, so it will increase my odds to do it safely.
Love it. How would you say your pilot's license would tie into your goals down the road? Everybody has an underlying reason for why they do what they do.
It's something that I was always talking about wanting to do, and I never would have done it myself. I honestly wouldn't have. I just always talk. I'm always looking up and seeing planes. Oh, that would be so fun. That'd be so cool. Imagine flying here or going to here. And my wife just signed me up. She said, go do it. Quit talking about, go do it. And that's where we give each other the push. How it will relate, I don't know yet. Because training is quite expensive. And now I'm finding myself, I'm not at the crossroad yet. I'm on the road to the crossroad, but I'm not there yet to whether or not I want to branch right and go be a professional pilot and change my career altogether, or I want to stay left and stick with my bread and butter, my fabricating, my welding, my custom furniture building, developing my own fabrication shop and really growing my own business. And that's what I want to work towards, because one thing I ask people is, Chris, if you won the lottery, you didn't have to work anymore, everything was covered, people actually left you alone to enjoy your money, what would you do?
Be a lot of similar things to what I'm doing right now. I like helping people.
Exactly. And for me, I would build shit in my garage.
I love it.
Right? And I would like to fly planes. Right? So that way I can still do what I like doing, but now if what I'm scared of, if I become a professional pilot, will I enjoy flying as a hobby too? Whereas I know I enjoy building stuff in my garage as a hobby, but I also still enjoy doing that for work. So when I get to the crossroad and I'm giving myself to when I'm done my commercial license training to see how I want to pursue it, that's when I'll decide on my crossroad on which route I want to take, right or left, because it's a scary thing. If I really enjoy flying, it's amazing, the views, everything's so phenomenal. But if you do it for a career, will I really enjoy doing it in my spare time? But if I could pick an end goal of what I want to do to be a professional pilot, the direction I would want to go is pursue water bombing and fight forest fires.
I love it.
Yeah.
Admirable.
Mm-hmm. Do something to help, and I kind of like doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. When I was like thinking of like, okay, how would he integrate these two things? First thing that came to my mind would you would be making like a special presentation, like a special like design, something for a remote area,
mm-hmm.
and you'd actually be able to deliver that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you could have a partnership with like museums that display like really traditional work, but they're in remote locations.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to actually like make that process faster because you're like a triple threat.
Absolutely. No, that's an awesome way of putting it too, right? And it's just like, so I don't know what way I'm going to take or what's going to present itself in the next couple of years, or even where I'm going to be living in the next couple of years.
That's the other thing. Yeah, totally. Like you might be, do you think you'd ever go as far as like Northwest Territories if that's where they placed you, like somewhere way North Canada?
It'd be a serious conversation with my wife. A decision like that can't be just made on a whim. It has to be made as a joint effort.
Totally.
And so we've gone this far to support my wife's career and stuff that she wants to do, that I'm still open on doing putting my stuff around what she has going on. I'll still adapt. I'll still go to places. I'll make friends. I'll keep busy and everything like that. And either building stuff or flying planes, it's versatile anywhere. They're always looking for either flight instructors at flight schools or small little airlines to fly places around, even just like little bush pilot stuff. There's always little companies like that in different locations. So we're still going to put her stuff first. So for us to like end up like in the Northwest Territories or something like that, or me end up there, that's a conversation for a later date with my wife and I. But if it was for me to get towards a goal that I wanted, then we would definitely compromise and we would have to figure out a solution.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Describe your week's activities as a dad. Like, you've told me a day. Tell me about lap time. Tell me about all this stuff.
So, okay, I'll run you through the week. Mondays, we wake up, we go to stroller size, and we do the exercises. During the summer months, we would be outside running in the river valley, which was phenomenal. Until I found out we do nothing but run hills to get to the top and run stairs and do burpees and push-ups and squats to run to another hill and do the exact same thing over again. I don't like running.
I know that about you.
Yeah. But it's getting better. It's getting better. Now we're back inside at the Kinsman, so we're running laps, and now it's starting to introduce more weightlifting, which I like. Tuesdays I'll do stroller size again, but then in the afternoon I'll go to one of the public libraries and do what they have, baby lap time. Excuse me there. And it's put on by the public libraries, and it's just free to drop in. It's for babies age 0 to 12 months, and it's just how to interact with your child. You sing songs, you play games, they get to interact with other kids. You get to meet new parents and go through the same stuff together. I've met so many wonderful people through Baby Lap Time that it's been a complete game changer, because it's really difficult to move to a new town and actually meet good quality friends. If you change jobs, you usually end up with work friends, but how many do you stay in contact with? I found that difficult previously, but the Lap Time parents have just been phenomenal. So yeah, we'll just sing songs. You're lifting them up. You're blowing bubbles. It's just, it's really cute. Wednesdays, I tend to go. I try to do something with Jake. Like either just me and him go do something, or I would do. There's a hiking group in Edmonton, which is also free. So it's called Hike It Baby, and I'll try if I can. Or we were missing some time this summer because of all the smoke. I didn't want to be walking outside too much with Jake and all that bad smoke in town. So that was pretty unfortunate that we did miss a lot of the hikes. But different groups will post different hikes around the city. It's not just Wednesdays; they're every day of the week, mornings, noons, evenings, and you meet at an arranged location, and then people have hikes completely arranged. And the one that I go to, or try to go as much as I can, it would start off at the Shamrock Curling Center, and we'd go for about an hour and a half long hike through Mill Creek. And it's not a great physical activity, but you're outside, you're active, you're still climbing hills. My son's heavy. I got a backpack on too, so now I'm walking the hills, and I've got about 50 pounds of gear on my shoulders.
Attaboy.
So that's, and then other people need a hand too. So some people bring strollers and they need an extra hand. So then I'm pushing a stroller, got Jake and a backpack on, and now you start pushing that up a hill. Your calves are burning, your shoulders are burning. So I'm staying active with that.
You're earning that dad bod.
Exactly. So Thursdays we go back to Baby Lap Time, and that's at 10:30 in the morning. And then a small group of us will go have brunch somewhere. Just
That's
have a
awesome.
cup of coffee. Let the kids interact. Basically, all I do is pull hair and poke each other in the eyes now. But they need that. They need that experience, and they need to interact with each other. And it's super heartwarming to see the kids smile, and kind of play with a toy together. It's amazing doing it at such a young age.
Well, it's so important to their development too.
Mm-hmm. And then on Fridays, I like to go swimming. And the pool that I found I enjoy the most is all the way out in Sherwood Park. It's at Emerald Hills.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that
phenomenal
place.
Facility. Just
Worth the drive, hey?
Just on point. And then so we'll go swimming out there. And then I just want Jake to be comfortable with water.
Yeah.
That's such a key thing, is to just be comfortable. Because where I grew up, there was a river nearby. And to learn how to swim in a river and stay comfortable in lakes and rivers and swimming, that's life-saving skills.
Yeah.
And great physical activity. And basically he just shovels about 1.5 gallons of salt water in my eyes when we go there. He loves it.
That's good.
So that basically wraps up my week. And then Saturdays and Sundays we'll go for a walk. We'll play in the house. We'll go do stuff. It's a lot of furniture walking now. Walking on, he holds onto my fingers and walks around. I'll try to do a barbecue or something like that, a big dinner, invite people over if we can, and then depends on my wife's schedule too and what works out.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see each other sometimes.
Okay. What's her schedule like? Does she work quite a bit?
She does work quite a bit. It was pretty hectic when she went back, but it's kind of tapered off, so she's on a 1 and 3 call, so she'll work 2 days, and then the third day she's on call where she'll stay overnight at the hospital. And then it's usually 5 in the morning until about 6 to 8 at night is when she comes home. And then when she's on call, she'll go in at about 5 in the morning. She'll come home from 4 to 8 the next day. So, and rounding on the weekends.
Yeah.
So every day she rounds. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty intense residency.
But then she also has her master's in design?
Correct. So her program, they require every resident to finish their training with either a master's or a PhD. And most of them do sort of a science background. Well, my wife came into medicine from a design background. And so she was able to do her master's in industrial design. And they provide a one year leave funded by the residency to work on either their master's or their PhD. And then they'll have to either collect funding for the other year or 2 years. But my wife, not wanting to extend her residency, did her first year of her master's during her second year of her residency. So she would finish call and get to leave early and go right from the hospital after being awake for 30 hours and go sit in on lectures and then do all the projects and still manage her patients and the surgery load and everything with that. And then she got her academic year to finish all of her projects, and then to complicate things for that, we got married and had Jake.
Wow. Like, for the listeners who can't see my face, my jaw just dropped. Like,
I wish I could I'll paint a picture for you. We're in the Grey Nuns. She's dilated. The epidural's in. And the lights are calm. Everything's settling down. We're waiting for it to get fully dilated to start pushing. And she's got her laptop open and she's working.
holy shit. Like,
she's in labor and she's working on projects.
I have some people that I hope will hear this on the podcast because it's astonishing. It's something that will inspire a lot of people, something that some people just need to hear. So there's a card game that your wife was involved with. Like,
she created it. So one of her projects that she did, her master's is based on integrating toy design and cardiac surgery. And because she's such an advocate for alternate ways of learning, that kids learn through play. She would remember topics better from doodling rather than writing notes. She can draw a picture and remember it and recollect it better. And that kids learn through play. So she started creating toys to help kids learn about what procedures they're going to have. And just simple, free to print off toys from her website, artoflearning.ca, that you can download, print, and then start learning about. There's 3D paper heart models for people wanting to learn about anatomy. The plastic models are super expensive. So this is an easy way where you can hold a three-dimensional heart, open it up, see all the valves, all the aorta, everything that's involved in it for free. Some of the other things like a sternotomy bear, just to explain to the kids and not even the kids, the parents that are terrified. What's going to happen with their kid's procedure, how they're going to do a sternotomy, they're going to open the chest, and this is what your heart actually looks like, and it's right here, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do this and this and this, and we're going to stitch you up, and then you're going to be fine afterwards. And so that really helps out with a lot of the patients, and that's been really positively received. That's been a part of her master's. And then she had just the fentanyl crisis going on right now is just the epidemic. I mean, we go to Vancouver a lot for conference work, play, all that stuff. I'm from Prince George. Prince George has a pretty bad, I don't even call it a drug problem. There's a lot of people that are addicted. It's a very addictive thing. It's a very horrible thing. And a lot of really honest people get into it, unfortunately, through either prescription or prescription meds that they bought illegally, or they've ingested it accidentally, because now how they're starting to put fentanyl in different things, it's mind-blowing. So my wife wanted to create awareness to this, and she created a game based on Cards Against Humanities with their full permission to do it. It plays exactly like Cards Against Humanities, and some people have said it's even more vile. And it's basically, how I like to put it, it's just like, whether or not you actually save a life, you're never going to be able to prove it, right? This game saved my life. It's hard to say. But it starts a conversation. It creates awareness. And it's really starting to help kind of change the negative social stigma surrounding fentanyl, because they're not just the Cards Against Humanity's type. She did a trivia version too. They're working on a junior edition. She's teaming up with some local youth in elementary school, and that's just about general household safety and stuff like that. And it all kind of plays the same way, and it's blown up. We can't believe it. Edmonton, it's been all around. She's been on several different news sites and interviews. Throughout Canada, all the way to Halifax. Leduc has its own special version. There's branches starting up in Hinton, Jasper, Prince George, Vancouver, Calgary, I believe Toronto, a couple other places in Ontario, Ottawa, Montreal, across the seas, over in Europe, England, Scotland, all the way to Australia. People are using it in the States, down in Ohio and stuff like that. She started it in January.
That's incredible. Is it something that she's just done to spread awareness, or is there any financial gain from it?
It's
just
all non-for-profit.
I love it.
It's completely non-for-profit, but there's future goals. So now with this, she's got many different things that she's doing and many different goals that she wants to reach with all those said topics.
Yeah.
And the said topic she wants to reach with Doctors Against Tragedies is to basically have another mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving type of charity of awareness. Unfortunately, scare tactics don't work. And so many people try to rely on scare tactics for awareness and trying to scare people. It doesn't work. So why not try humor? Why not try a different approach? Right? I mean, like, look at how many people are still smoking even though they have all those vile pictures on the cigarette boxes.
Yeah.
Right? And so if somebody, when you were growing up and your mom and dad said, don't do this, where were you going?
Probably to do the thing.
Exactly. Don't do this.
Yeah.
And so just the more we're learning about just different social situations and how to deal with it, humor is a great way to really bridge the gap and start a conversation and stick in somebody's head. I can't remember anything my teachers told me in high school, but I can remember every single dirty joke that has ever been said to me.
Poo.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Mm-hmm. So does she have any goals that you could list, like, coming up, or it's just all this broad picture and it's
Broad picture.
broad picture?
Nothing super hardline. So right now they're working on all of the legalities. It's not just her. It's a team of people that have like really helped and branched out. It was her design that started it. It started as a project for her master's, but there's been so many other people to help and just contribute and really run with the project, because she's so busy with her surgery that she can't do everything at once. There's only so many hours in the day, and even if we only sleep 1 hour, we're still falling behind. So these other people are just like really running with it to get it listed as an actual non-for-profit charity. Even though like all the money that they've gotten through grants and stuff has been spent on the decks and everything to go with it. They want to really make it a legit charity. So they're talking with lawyers and trying to get that set up so they can really start running with it. She started another one. They're going to be doing a sexual health deck, and I will help write some of the cards. I remember every dirty joke that's ever been said to me. So that deck really wrote itself.
Yeah. There's no trouble writing that deck. It's good.
It just spilled on the page.
That's awesome.
But then like a lot of people really they volunteer a lot of time to all everything that is Doctors Against Tragedies, and we're so grateful for everything that they're helping with, and they're just completely blown away with the response that it's gotten.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
Well, I have to say, we've wrapped up quite a bit of topics here,
Mm-hmm.
but I have one more thing to ask. If you could give our listeners one piece of advice on authentically living their life to the fullest, what would it be?
It's hard. It's like never settle for enough, but what is enough? Right? Never, always set a goal.
Yeah.
Be busy doing something. It doesn't matter what it is. If it makes you happy, do it. That's what I like. Communicate with the people that you love. Work with them on issues and problems. Enjoy moments that you can. Try to put the cell phones down and actually enjoy it. I've faced the same difficulty as everyone. It's really hard these days to separate yourself from technology, but I'll leave it in a different room, and just enjoy my son's time. Enjoy the little moments. Just the standard cliche shit, but just really try to adhere to it. That's what I'd have to say, is just set a goal, achieve it, and enjoy the small things.
I love it. Never set too small of a goal, hey?
Exactly.
It's good.
You reach for the shoot for the stars. You might miss and hit the moon. Somebody said that once.
I think I saw that on like a poster in a grade 3 room or something.
Okay, well, I definitely didn't invent that. I wasn't trying to claim
it. You remember the dirty jokes, though. It's been a pleasure having you today. Thanks for being my first guest.
Thanks so much, Chris. It was a pleasure being here, and I hope this all works out for you.
I think it will.
This is a great goal to set for yourself.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely.